Hey everyone, welcome to Salt Outdoors.
Yes, Salt Outdoors.
We're sitting on a bridge. Well, not a real bridge, it's an unfinished bridge.
Yes, it's unfinished, but we're sitting on it anyways. We have no fear that it will fail us.
No. I had a nice little spot, a picnic table. It was in the shade. Had little tree branches coming down behind us with sparkling water. But we're here at a bridge, an unfinished bridge, by the way, with a thing over there that says "Do not sit." But here we are.
It doesn't say that. This suits Brett's sense of breaking the rules.
Breaking the rules.
Yeah.
We have a live audience today.
Yes.
Ask anyone to show them the live audience. Oh yeah. This is who comes to see us now.
Yeah, but if you look just off in the distance behind us over there, that's where we stood to watch the eclipse today.
Oh yeah, we were just back over there when we saw
eclipse.
we saw the partial eclair up in the sky.
It was 80% here.
Yeah.
So it wasn't bad. It was really pretty.
Yeah. The next one's going to be 100% up in, was it April?
Yeah, April the 8th.
April the 8th. So we'll do it again. But yeah. And I don't know if it was the one here, but there was a duck on Facebook, and when I looked at it, it had like, I don't know, 500,000 views. And it was a duck with it said with a hat, and it had a little puffball on it, and then Aspen noticed there was one here with it. So I don't know if it's that one or if it's a copycat, but we have one of the ducks with a little fuzzball on top of its head.
It was a duck, and it looked like it had a pom-pom or a cotton ball on its head.
Yeah, so anyway, we're out here. It's actually fairly nice.
It is.
Yeah, I was like, it's, not too cold. We're in direct sun, but it's what, 70-something degrees now?
So it's 70 degrees.
So as long as we have some nice weather, we'll keep trying to do stuff around Texas and outdoors and have some fun with it. But yeah, hopefully you saw, the eclipse today at some point. It was a historic partial eclipse for the Ring of Fire, they called it, because it, just had the very outside of the sun. But yeah. So if you hear the honking and the quacking, our live audience is simply reacting to the brilliance that Miranda will now orate in her unique voice.
Quack, quack, quack.
Quack.
Yeah. Okay, well, if you guys have been watching us, you know that for the last couple of weeks we've been answering a couple of the questions that the people in Sabbath School asked as important questions to them. And today we're on the last one, about how do you forgive. And so my answer to that is that we forgive by faith. And so we're going to take a closer look at how that's done, some practical living ways.
Yeah.
So, this last week I saw on Facebook, as we do sometimes, a little video, and his family had this little girl, and she was about a year old, and she had just learned how to walk, and she was walking around in circles in the living room, right? Just as happy as could be, no destination in mind, singing away, and just happy. And I thought, you know what? Most of us want happiness like that, right? Just a kind of happiness that you don't even have to think about it or plan for. It just happens in your day. And yet, we probably don't really succeed that like we want to. But in the meantime, Jesus, he has in the Beatitudes, Matthew 5, he has a whole list basically of how to be happy. Because that's what the word blessed there translates to, is happy are those.
Happy are those, yeah. Beatitudes. Happy are you when you do these things.
So basically he goes on to list a bunch of things that probably most of us never thought would actually make us happy, and some of them we have probably spent some time actually avoiding. Basically, he also says, he wraps it up there with, he talks about, being humble, being merciful, being persecuted, and it just seems like there are better ways to be happy, right? So we end up with happiness ADD. It's like, oh look, new iPhone, oh look, new shoes, oh look, new car, oh look, this, that, oh look, new girlfriend, oh look, new boyfriend, whatever it happens to be, and yet that is not true happiness.
Yeah, I like that. Happiness ADD, attention deficit disorder for happiness. Oh, the next bright shiny thing and the next thing, or when our happiness, I used to say that happiness and joy are two different things. You know, happiness is based on temporary thing. Joy is based on, you know, an actual being in a good place. But then you look at the Beatitudes, and it is one of those, you know, we read it in the Bible, blessed are those, and it sounds very pastoral. Blessed are you when, and really when Jesus was out there, maybe being interrupted by ducks like us, he was talking to a crowd and going, you want to be happy? Happy are the people that do this. Happiness is in this, you know, and it's much more of a joyful sermon than I think people give it credit for, and that's kind of what Miranda's saying here. Here's a way to happiness. It's not based on, you know, the next nice thing.
All right, so we end up wearing basically our happiness on the outside rather than it's being just something that comes from the inside of us.
Yeah. I saw it was an article, and I don't know, they were talking about you know, socioeconomic, you know, different levels of wealth, and they had some people, and they had these sweatshirts they were wearing, and it said, I am a luxury, and talking about how people surround themselves with things because they're worth it.
Well,
and so I I am happy because I have the clothes, I'm happy because I have this car, I'm happy because, you know, I'm happy because I'm wealthy, secure.
Yeah.
There is, you know, some security to that.
There's some merit to that.
But that can be taken away.
Yeah, which just reminds me, because I was reading a little bit of news earlier today about what's going on over there in Israel, and there was one of those. He was a young man that had been at the concert where they did shot and killed so many people, and he said he had arrived all of a sudden at the point in time that when he realized he needed to run, and this was an actual real danger, he was like, well, you know, at that point in time it becomes forget money, forget things, forget your car, just leave it all behind and just run, because now the only thing important that's left in your life is your life. And so it was he found that whole new perspective basically. Before that, apparently things had been important to him, and all of a sudden he realized in that moment that wasn't it at all. It was life, and he ran to sustain that.
I actually have a play whose tagline is nothing focuses life like the fear of death, or like, when you're close to the end you start to realize, or in your situation where you're about to lose it all, it really drives home the truth of what's most important are people, relationships, love, that kind of thing, not stuff.
So we're in the fall now here, and it's crisp, and well, we don't have any fall leaves or any such thing like that yet, because fall is just starting to hit. Yeah,
we have like summer, leaves, winter.
Yeah. Well, one thing I got to hand it to Texas is in the spring it had lovely wildflowers and such.
They do have that.
And throughout the summer there was some, and now that it's fall, you see big patches. Right now it's yellow ones and purple ones, I think, just filling the fields, and it's really quite pretty. I don't know that I've seen quite so many fall flowers before. Usually you see the fall leaves, and then that's about what you get. So, but of course last spring, last April, I'm sure we talked about that, we went on down and we saw bluebonnet fields down in Tyler, Texas.
And why are bluebonnets special to us?
Because they're very fragrant. So when I lived here for a year when I was in 6th grade, we would see the bluebonnets there, you know, growing next to the highway and such, but there wasn't a lot of them, and you didn't get out to smell them. You didn't think that they were fragrant. They were just pretty blue flowers, right? So when I was online finding out where they were and stuff, I read that they were fragrant as well. I thought, well, that's nice. But wow, nothing prepares you for arriving there to this great big field of bluebonnets, and you get out and you are just, it is a powerful scent that is spread out over the whole place, right? And so there's a
whole drive we used to do. Well, it's one of the salts we did. you drive around the circle around here in northern Texas. They have them in other parts of Texas too, but it's the Blue Bonnet Circle. And boy, yeah, when you drive around, you see them, just feels it. And when you get out, you just, wow, that's what, flowers smell like.
Yeah, it is jam-packed with people. Like, you have a hard time finding a place to park in this big circle. And people are just all over the place taking pictures. They got family pictures, kid pictures, couple pictures,
people dress up,
pregnant pictures. I mean,
so we're just standing there like, Aspen, go sit over there. Picture.
Yeah, you got to kind of find your little space that hopefully has a wide expanse of some blue bonnets where you don't get other people in.
She was bigger, so just elbow the babies out of the way. They'll roll down the hill. They'll be fine.
Yeah. So no doubt, when these people look back at those pictures, they'll remember the joy that they had when they were there, right? But they'll also remember the fragrance. Now, they might not be able to see you can't see the fragrance in the picture, but in your mind, you know that it's there.
Yeah.
And anybody else looking at the picture who has never been there or experienced it, they can believe you that it's very fragrant. But because they haven't experienced it, they can't see it in the picture like you can. It has become part of the picture, right?
And it stays with you. Like, some people have lost their memory. They'll, years later, they'll smell something, and that's enough to trigger the reality of the memory they had, and their memory comes back. And it's like when you do that, you're explaining to somebody in picture. It's like you can still experience because that smell memory is in your head, and it's still real to you, where somebody can look at a picture and, well, it's nice, but they're not experiencing even the picture like you are.
Yeah, they have to take by faith what you have to say, that it actually is that powerful of a scent. It's not just like, oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
It is just, it envelops the whole area.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no getting out of it. Yeah. Like someone definitely sprayed a whhole bottle of perfume.
Yeah.
So let's take a look. We'll move on to the Beatitudes, and just a quick little look at that, quick little wrap on that, at how to be happy, right? So Jesus said, happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So basically, blessed are those who recognize their spiritual poverty and their need for forgiveness.
Yeah, I mean, remember we're doing like happy. So when he said blessed, here's a sort of an oxymoron, just saying, happy are those who are poor in spirit. And I'm sure that was like, huh?
Yeah, because happy are you when you recognize your spiritual poverty. We were just talking today, and people were talking about how this or how that, and recognizing some of their own personal lack and what they feel they should be living up to. And there's really not a lot of happiness in that, because they're searching for that something more, and they know that they should do it, and it's kind of there and elusive and such, but they have some understanding, but we all have so much room for more understanding, but then again, it doesn't really matter, because our base land, or whatever you want to call it, there for everyone is spiritual poverty. We're all equal in that matter. There's not more spiritual poverty for more people. Everybody has the same amount. So it's all encompassing for everyone. So happy are those who mourn, and for they will be comforted. So basically, blessed and happy are those who mourn their spiritual poverty, and they're sad about that, because they will be comforted by the forgiveness of God Himself.
Yeah. There's, when I was reading through this, I was like, happy is, those who are, poor in spirit, happy are those who mourn. How is that possible? But when you've experienced it, much like, smelling the blue bonnets and then trying to explain it to somebody else, you really have to experience it yourself. There's when people struggle their whole lives to deal with an addiction, or deal with a habit, or deal with some, or there's something about you that you don't like, that, even if it's, something only but you struggle with. I've seen it, I've experienced it. There's this great release and freedom when you come to the place of understanding, one, you can't fix it. You were never able to fix it. And all your efforts were just really compounding the problem. You weren't really dealing with it. You were trying to cover it. You were trying to repair it. You were trying to fill a hole or something. And what you come to realize is that you can't. And when you come to that place, there's a real peace. Like, wait a minute, it's not my fault, and I can't fix it. I never have been able to. It's not me. It's not my fault. And that's kind of the first step in Christianity, in addiction recoveries too, is like, I need help, and I can't do this myself. And there really is this amazing release of burden and weight and freedom and happiness, just even though it's still there, and it's still, you just come to like, I need help, I can't do it. And that is a good place to start.
Right, because then God and all, there's no more left, no more you left.
Right.
Because now God can come in and be the entire strength in your life.
Yeah, we have another saying in recovery: when all else fails, try God. Or you can take the shortcut and start with Him.
Yes, that's what we're trying to convince people to do. Yes, yeah. A couple friends dropped by yesterday on their way down to full view of the eclipse,
which didn't turn out so well for them.
Yeah, it was actually clouded over them. So I felt really bad for them.
Yeah, we did feel bad, Randy and Trina. We did feel bad.
Yeah. So anyways,
we looked in our bright, sunless,
cloudless sky. Yeah, not a cloud in sight.
But we felt bad for you. We mourned for you.
Anyways, all year basically, she's been telling me what a crazy year she's been having. Well, of course, she lives in a different state, so I don't really see her. But when I saw her in person, I could tell she had been struggling with things, and so I tried to give her some shortcuts. That would just make it easier, because I'm 10 years older than her, and so, sometimes you just have more experience when you're 10 years older than someone, generally. Yeah. So, blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. According to pulpit commentary, a meek person is one who has a passion of resentment under control, and who is therefore tranquil and untroubled. So a person who has a passion of resentment under control shares the forgiveness he has received from God with others.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, that's another, I've always seen the happier the meek, in that, at least in, throughout my life, it's been one place where I've come to like really try and be, is the living by this phrase, I could be wrong. And what that really means is I don't have to be right.
Yes, and it really sets you free.
It does. When I'm like, I can share my opinion, I can share my perspective, but I don't really have to convince you. And before, especially as a young teacher, you're like, no, I need to win this argument, I need to win this debate, and when you can you might be right, you can let it go. And you don't walk away from arguments or debates or conversations resenting like, man, you walked away like, why didn't I think of that while I was, to say this while I was in that conversation. When you're meek, you don't have as many of those experiences, because it's just like, this is just my thing, and I accept your thing for what it is, and let's move on in life. It's not, I don't have to be right.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, and they will be filled. So those who hunger and thirst for depth of a relationship with God will be filled with a desire to do His will. And not only desire to do His will, but the power to do it. They receive power to forgive from the table of the Good Shepherd, who has prepared it in the presence of their enemies.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to the next one. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Isn't that wonderful to be shown mercy? It really is. Brett and I watched, what was that? The Shakespeare thing.
Oh, The Merchant of Venice.
Yes, The Merchant of Venice this last week. And it was about mercy, or lack thereof, kind of.
It's a great illustration of when you live by the law and demand the law and demand the rights of the law, and how that never ends well for you. And mercy and grace is really, the way to freedom. And in The Merchant of Venice, the merchant demands his right, demands his law, and yet, when he does, he finds out how strict the law is, and it condemns him as well, and he has to be saved by mercy and grace. And it's a great illustration of, you know, how God's love and God's grace sets you free.
So in God's green pastures, His goodness and His mercy follow me all the days of my life. And God carries the keys to locked doors and heaven's gates. He unlocks doors I didn't even know existed and leads me into His mercy to me, giving me the power to forgive the unforgivable. So, because that was the question the person asked in Sabbath school, is how do I forgive the unforgivable person?
Yeah. Actually, I mean, very, very quickly, because I don't want to take up too much time. There's a story you probably may have heard. It's the Corrie ten Boom, who lived through World War II and went, you know, to, I don't know if it was Auschwitz, but she was in the, you know, prison camps and survived, and went around and you know, was preaching God's love, God's grace, and everything. And then at the end of a service one day, she's shaking hands at the back, and one of the guards from the prison she was in the audience and coming down the line, and she saw him and recognized him and knew she couldn't shake this man's hand, and you know, she prayed and prayed and prayed, God, after just preaching your love and forgiveness, and here comes this guy and I cannot shake his hand. If that's going to happen, you're going to have to do it. And then she talks about when he got there, you know, she didn't raise it, but she felt her arm go up and shook his hand, kind of apart from her, you know, mentally choosing to do it. And then he, you know, he's in tears and everything, and he experienced forgiveness from her, though he, you know, so it was a real moment. But it's when you can't imagine doing something you know God's called you to do, that happens. And sometimes you just got to put it there and go, if I'm going to do this, God, you're going to have to do it through me.
Yes, and He does. Clearly, He does. So, blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. A pure heart carries no resentment against those who have sinned against it. So you can forgive, like she did, without the resentment, basically.
Yeah, carrying resentment, we say, back to recovery, we say resentment is the poison I take to kill you. That's what resentment does. It just kills us on the inside.
Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called the children of God. So in God's green pastures, once again, I shall not want. When I seek first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, God provides all the things that I need, including peace in the winds of strife, right? And ability to forgive those who actually brought the storm into my life.
Yeah, that's, again, there's some times where you have to turn it to God and go, no, Lord, no way, no how. If this happens, you're going to have to do it in me and through me. And that's one of the things where God says, my strength never fails. We usually take that verse as to my strength never fails in the sense of lifting us up, supporting us in hard times, which is true, it's fine, but it's applicable to everything, yes, even to giving that shake of forgiveness.
It's applicable to every temptation in your life every single day.
Yeah.
So blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. So God's grace is the strength in my weakness, the thing I can't see but have experienced as a source of power. When the lion roars, the good shepherd fights for me.
Yep.
So do you see how the fragrance of forgiveness is joy? And we are to forgive by faith. And we have a story time today, and Brett is going to read that for us.
All right. Sit back, relax, listen to the calm quacking of the ducks as we have story time. Faith spoken must be faith lived out, or it is not faith. Faith isn't covering the truth of what is with a sweet, gooey frosting. Faith is seeing the rocks and the barren ground for what they are, a place for my promises to be fulfilled. You do not need to scruff among the rocks for a few blades of dried up grass. You are my child, and as such I provide green grass for you. Look at the lake, frozen over. People are skating on it and laughing, having fun, but anyone can do that. I call you to come dance with me on that same lake when the ice has thawed and the spring has come. Now the others have left. They cannot see the possibility of walking on water. When they come to the lake, they would bring boats, life vests, flotation devices of all kinds, once again keeping themselves afloat. They have faith in what they can see, and they will have fun, but under their own power. They will never experience dancing on the water with me because they do not have the faith to see beyond the visible. They do not hear the truth I speak because they cannot see it. Put on your diamond dancing shoes, for I have called you out of living by sight into the magical world of living by faith in my sight for you. Seek, and you shall find. Your faith has removed the scales from your eyes and the stoppers from your ears. Faith, though it cannot be seen, has far more power than that which can be seen. Do not waste your life, your precious breath and heart, in time spent bowing to gods of wood and stone. I have more in store for you than that. When you bow to them, you become like them, hard and wooden, unbending to my will and plan for you. Do not bow to Baal. When I want to dance with you, my little one, you are precious in my sight, and all I have is yours to use as I have created you to use them.
Yes, I love that story.
She wrote that. And obviously it was God speaking to us. So. All right, so thanks for joining us. This has been fun, and you've heard the loud quacking applause of the day. Hopefully not too loud.
Yes, hopefully not too loud.
But this was out here on the lake here at Southwestern Adventist University, and next Sabbath hopefully is it going to be decent weather for a little bit?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's actually back into the 70s after we hit some 80s again this next week. So.
Well, there's a couple places we haven't been we want to get to, and we'll do some videos, show you those places, and we'll do some more Salt on Location. So thanks for joining us. Hope you saw the eclipse today, and we'll see you next time.